Israel, for example, from when I first met him, I was like, man, this guy's super confident. He was saying he was going to be like world champion, UFC champion, and obviously he did end up doing that. But he was like that from day one. I've seen people that have all the physical attributes, all the good signs on the mat, and then they just don't have it mentally, and they just didn't quite make it to where they potentially could have. Yeah, I've had like different stages in my career with like different mindsets, that's for sure. I think you develop a lot and change a lot as a fighter when you spend a lot of time in the sport. Like I've been in it 20 years now. Your motivation's always going to change. Spend as much time on the mat as you can, because you have to be a black belt, you have to be a collegiate level of wrestling these days. You have to be really good at striking. Like the specialist stage is kind of over. Elite performance, like high level sport, that's all it is. It's performance. You have to perform. Try and enjoy that process.
What are you guys doing out there? You haven't liked, subscribed, or shared to our YouTube channel? Please do. It helps us out. Do it now. Also, if you put in the discount code YouTube10, you will receive 10% off of merchandise. So make sure you like, subscribe, share, YouTube10, get yourself 10% off, and do it now.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Bangtao YouTube channel. My name is Brad Riddell. I am the kickboxing coach here and one of the MMA coaches, and I'm currently still a lightweight in the UFC.
In your opinion, what do you think does separate between a challenger and a champion? What do you think is the first thing to think of?
Yeah, I think it's an extremely long answer for a short question, but we can address first what most people would say, which is probably like mindset. But if we wanted to address mindset, I think that's something that you build over an entire career. Some people are born very, very confident, right? And then something happens, like maybe in fighting, that like can bash their confidence a bit, so they have to build that back up. So mindset's like a very broad subject in fighting, because if you've never lost for a long time, you're going to be like on the clouds, right? And if you're undefeated, your confidence is easy to keep. If you've had it for a long time and then you lose, sometimes it can take a bit of a bashing. I've seen some champions have some internal battles before after having like very dominant streaks. Yeah, that's a hard question. There's not one thing that sticks out that just I could say what separates them all, right? Like the champions that I've worked with and trained next to, they have similarities, but then also they don't. Then also they're just so damn different that it kind of destroys the thing, like, oh, there's a recipe to be the champion. I think if you started from the ground up, it would be mat time. Spend as much time on the mat as you can, because you have to be a black belt, you have to be a collegiate level of wrestling these days. You have to be really good at striking. Like that's just going to be the standard for the sport now. It's not really, the specialist stage is kind of over. So mat time is going to be one. I think spending a lot of time on your mindset. So if I went downstairs and asked most of the fighters, how many hours do you spend a week on your body, like training, I'd bet they'll crack double digits easily. They'd be 10, 20 hours. Some of them, probably the crazy ones, probably 30 hours. And if I asked them how many hours do you spend on your mind a week, training your mind, I'd bet you like 99% of them would say 0. Because they think they're fine. And then the answer to a bad training sometimes, when you're fatigued and run down, which is the reason you had the bad session, is because you're tired and maybe you're peaking or maybe you're overtrained. Usually fighters will get back in the gym and be like, the only way to correct that bad session is by doing more training. And then you have another bad session, maybe because you're tired and you're getting more fatigued and you get further in the hole, and then your mindset starts to be affected, right? And your mental state. And so if you don't really have any exercises or techniques or practice on pulling yourself out of that bad place, it can be a bit of a struggle sometimes, right? So yeah, that's what I mean by, I think, building up you need to train your mind, I guess, as much as you train your body, if not more. Yeah.
So do you think with mindset, do you think that a champion mindset isn't necessarily born into you, or like is it something you can work on?
Well, I mean, if I say yes or I say no, there's going to be an example that favors either side, right? There's going to be someone that was just born like I mean, with Izzy, we could take Israel, for example. From when I first met him many moons ago, I was like, man, this guy's super confident, super cocky. He was saying he was going to be like world champion, UFC champion, and he'd like had a couple of fights. And obviously he did end up doing that. But he was like that from day one. Like he didn't just decide to do that halfway through his career. He was like that from day one, and he just really believed in what in himself, right? And what he was saying. And there's obviously physical attributes and physical indicators in training that also help that, right? Like if you're in training, you're doing really well on the mat, you're maybe better than everybody, you pick up techniques faster, as well as having that mindset and that confidence to go into the fight. Yeah, there's those signs, right? But then I've seen people that have all the physical attributes, all the good signs on the mat, and then they just don't have it mentally, and they just didn't quite make it to where they potentially could have, right? And then there's guys like Volk, who wasn't even really thinking about MMA at all in his life. I think he just started doing it for fitness. So the start of his journey wasn't like, I'm going to be UFC world champion. That was like, I'm pretty fat. I'm 5 foot, whatever. I'm 5'2" or whatever he is, 5'5", and 100 kilo. He was like, I probably should slim down a bit. And MMA is a good way to do it. And he had a couple of fights and it went well, and it sort of progressed from there, right? And he had champion work ethic from day one. I don't know about mindset. I don't know what he was thinking upstairs earlier on. He was just probably focused on a lot of things. He had like rugby. When he came over here, he was locked in on the UFC. He was like, I'm going to make the UFC. I remember after his debut or one of the first 2 fights, he was like, I'm going to be champion. I will be the champion. So I remember that. And, but you know, I know these guys very well, and they've had their ups and downs. But they've had people and ways to get themselves out of those holes that you get into in your mind sometimes. So,
how would you like? Do you think you say that like working on the mindset is something that you do? Have you found a method that works for you, or like how you try to be mentally strong? Or
yeah, I've had like different stages in my career with like different mindsets. That's for sure. I think you develop a lot and change a lot as a fighter when you spend a lot of time in the sport. Like I've been in it 20 years now, and so there's been different stages of my career. That's for sure. I think when I fully understood what I'm saying now, when I fully actually grasped and understood what I'm talking about, was a friend of mine explained this to me. His name's Mark Timms. He's the striking coach and MMA manager at the Shanghai PI, and I remember one time, maybe towards the end of, maybe towards the middle of my career in the UFC, I was like, man, I don't know what really motivates me to fight. I was still winning at this point too. And he was like, your motivation's always going to change. You know, like for Volk, it hasn't really changed. It's always been like his family. Maybe the last fight it changed a little bit with everyone doubting him because they were saying he's older, and he just he's not old, and he's like, I don't feel it, I don't look it, I'm gonna prove them wrong. So I guess that motivation changed for that last one. But up until then, it was always his family, looking after his family. For me, it's been all over the show. You know, when I was younger, I used to just want to fight and just pretty much steamroll people, and then I wanted to be like a world champion in kickboxing and Muay Thai. So that was like a big motivation. And then there was a time where I just wanted to be known for being good at all of it. Boxing, good at MMA, good at kickboxing, just this like utility fighter, like an Uber fighter, right? I could fight everything and win it. Just like trying to show off my skill set. So that was for a while, and that went really well. Then it was the UFC. When kickboxing sort of showed it wasn't really going to make me rich or anything. So that was UFC was the goal. And then I was chasing to be champion like everybody else was, you know, and I got to like number 10 ranking at my best. That was my best effort. And that was when Mark said to me, when I was like asking about motivation, he was saying it's going to change all the time, right? And you just have to find at that time what motivates you. It might not be trying to destroy the other person, right? It could just be trying to show your skill set or make the most of your physical prime, or maybe you're still chasing the championship mentality. Maybe you just love fighting. I got some mates that just fight locally and stuff now. You know, they were in the UFC and then they're not in the UFC anymore, and then they still just fight because they enjoy it. So their motivation is just doing what they love. So yeah, it's gonna change for all you guys. So like, if you ever feel a bit confused or a bit lost about why you're actually fighting, you just gotta maybe look a little bit deeper. I don't think, maybe some people can ask you some triggering questions to help you, but you're probably gonna have to figure that one out yourself and just have a little look in the mirror and see if the reasons changed, right? The answer is not stop. Oh, I'm out of steam. Sometimes it might be. Maybe if you're like 100 or so fights deep, it might just be like, oh, I'm a bit sore and tired now. I've done this for a long time. Maybe it's time to like move on to a new chapter, which is, you know, sort of where I'm at the moment. Like, I got a couple more fights left in me, and then I'll be sort of like closing that fighting book and opening up the coaching one completely. Right now, it's just on the first few pages of that one, and figure out why you want to keep fighting, or if you do want to keep fighting, right? So it's going to be different for everybody. Yeah. But if you stop, it doesn't mean you've failed, right? Yeah.
Do you think that people put too much pressure on themselves to be a world champion?
Yeah, I think you need the pressure. You need pressure. You need to put pressure on yourself because, you know, there's the old saying that pressure makes diamonds, but you don't need to put heaps on you, like you're saying. Yeah, some people do put too much. You do need pressure. Helps you perform sometimes, but don't put on so much that you're just thinking about. It's like crippling you, right? It's like crippling your mindset. Again, we're talking about that. Yeah, always try and enjoy it. There's always gonna be pressure with it, right? Because elite performance, like high level sport, that's all it is. It's performance. You have to perform. Try and enjoy that process. Be realistic about it, though.
How is there like a definition you could give a champion? Like, I know it's hard to put it into a box, but is there like a definition that you think this is what a champion is?
Oh man, the world's too warped now to say the definition of a champion, right? They're all over the show, especially MMA champions. There's like the difference in personalities is, geez, it's not black and white, right? Like champions, if you look at champions in boxing over history, it was black and white. There was like a good guy and a bad guy. Now the shit's all over the show. Like, I don't know what to look up to. You don't know what to look up to. It's a problem with the youth, though. They got too many things that they think is a good thing to look up to. And yeah, I don't know, man. The definition of a champion, I'd say Volk's a good example. He's a sound bloke. That's a good champion. He's the guy I got the most respect for in the fight world, and out of the fight world. He's the number one for me. But yeah, man, just I'm not gonna tell you guys how to live your life. Live it how you want to live it, man. You guys will figure out the rewards or repercussions of it later on, I guess, on your choices, right? You got to make some mistakes. We'll find out things for yourself. I think try to the best of your ability to surround yourself with like-minded people that are on the same mission. As little distractions as possible. I'm not saying don't enjoy life, but there's a time just to train and be bored every day and just train, right? And those are your early years. So make the most of being, for example, let's take Thailand, for example. This is one of the only places where you can just organize a Muay Thai fight in 6 days, week in, week out, 6-7 days, right? You can be like, I mean, you can do it. I've seen blokes do it in like 2 days. I've seen people take a fight in a few hours. So this is like a place where I would utilize getting experience, right? Like fighting, even if I was an MMA fighter, I'd just fight Muay Thai, because you can't replicate fight time. No matter what you do, like waiting around for the next MMA fight, it's like, it can take forever sometimes, and then it cancels, and then it's like, wow, man, what a waste of time that was. Like, just fight Muay Thai if you have the opportunity to, because this is one of the few places where you can just crack up fights, many fights, as much as you can, get great experience against really good level strikers. So yeah, try and make the most of opportunities. You need to recognize opportunities like where you are. Another piece of advice is like, sometimes you need to place yourself geographically in the right spot, right? Sometimes I'm not saying like ditch coaches or leave your home or anything like that. You might just need to do like a small temporary move sometimes to take the next step forwards. And that's the other thing, is don't jump coaches all the time, right? Just, you get a coach that cares, that's a big one, right? If they care about you and they're putting time into you and they're open to upskilling and getting better with you, because that's what we can always do that as a coach. We all can always get better. There's no ceiling for us. That's a big one, right? I had a coach, a very, very caring coach. I've always had really, really caring coaches, right? Maybe that's why I had a decent amount of success. And also all my friends, right, are very successful at fighting, because we had like very caring coaches. And yeah guys, so I hope you liked the video. I went on a bit of a rant there, and I'll probably have to organize my thoughts a bit better to get everything, to articulate everything to you guys. But make sure you guys like and subscribe. Keep watching the videos. We've got a great content creator here, Paul. He's like releasing lots of great content all the time, so like and subscribe.